Hello everyone and welcome back to day 8 here on the island in Ark Survival Ascended. In the last episode I did go out and gather a bunch of metal and tamed up 3 Ankleos, but in the process of doing that I did damage my tools, so I need to go ahead and repair those. And now that my tools are repaired, I need to craft saddles for my Ankleos, or at least a saddle for one of them, so that way I can start gathering large quantities of metal and flint. The flint will be used to make spark powder. That combined with charcoal will then make gunpowder, and then the metal will be used to make bullets and other things like an industrial forge. Out of these 3 Ankleos, 2 of them were tamed and then one of them was just claimed as a baby. So the question is, out of the 2 that I tamed, which ones ended up with the better stats? This one seems to have higher health and lower weight. And then this one here seems to have lower health, but higher weight. And weight is the main thing that we need when we're mining metal. So I think I'm going to prioritize the one that has the higher weight to start out with. So I'll put the saddle on this girl here, and then I'm going to pull her up beside our other Ankleo. And I can't make it between these 2 tails, so I'm going to have to go around. But I want to get as close as possible to the other Ankleo so I can unload all the metal out of that one's inventory into this one, and then I will take it up and put it into the forge. And as you can see here, the Ankleo is weighed down with the metal in my inventory, but once I move the metal over to the Ankleo's inventory, it cuts the weight in half, and then it's no longer overburdened, and now I can walk it up to the forge. And now that we are up by the forge, I should just be able to grab all of this metal all at once and just plop it straight into the forge here. I am going to need some wood to get this metal smelting. Luckily, I have plenty of wood in my smithy, but before I go just throw it all into the forge, first I want to make a feeding trough, because at this point I'm starting to accumulate quite a bit of dinos, and it's not fun to try and run around and make sure that they all have food in their inventory. It's much easier to make one feeding trough, put all the food in there, and not have to worry about if my dinos are going to starve to death. I'm not gonna lie, after placing the feeding trough, I just got distracted and started going around to all of my dinos and taking out all of the berries or meat that they had and putting them into the feeding trough. And then after that, I went around and started grabbing all the saddles and other various items and organizing all of my inventory. So it was a while before I ended up actually putting wood into the forge to start smelting my metal. I did grab a bunch of charcoal out of the forge and then put that into the mortar and pestle. I also had a bunch of extra flint, so I started making spark powder that I could then turn into gunpowder. At this point, I was running out of storage in my smithy, and I don't need saddles that I'm not using, just wasting space in my smithy, so I crafted a couple large storage boxes that I could then put down and put in things like saddles and building materials that I'm not using at the moment. Next, I grabbed a green supply drop that was just outside my base, and as usual, it had nothing good in it. Even though these thatch pieces aren't very good, I am using it to expand my base for now, because stone pieces are very expensive, especially if you're having to gather the resources by hand. But pretty soon I will get a doid for gathering stone, and I'm level 62, and once I get to level 69, I will be able to get the Therizino saddle, and that will allow me to gather wood pretty rapidly. So once I'm able to gather wood and stone without having to do it by hand, I should be able to upgrade my base pretty rapidly. I ran out of food and I was starving, so I went back to my campfire to grab some of the meat that I had cooked. I also grabbed some charcoal, which I threw over into the mortar and pestle, and went ahead and started crafting myself some gunpowder. The feeding trough I made doesn't reach all the way to the beach, so I wanted to get as many of the dinos as I could onto the bridge where they can reach the feeding trough, and instead of having to move my Ankleo saddle from one to another, I decided to just go ahead and craft 2 more Ankleo saddles, so that way they each have their own, and I don't have to worry about moving saddles every time I try to move a different one of them. Another reason I want to get all these dinos up onto the bridge is because I feel like they're less likely to get attacked up here. We already lost Amanda, our trike, when it got attacked by a Therizino out on the beach, so I want to keep all of our weaker dinos on the bridge where they can be more protected, and then have our Therizino and things like that stand guard outside, so that way if anything comes near our base, they can defend it for us. Because I'm not level 69 yet and can't get the Therizino saddle, I thought about getting a chainsaw to gather wood, but I don't have enough silica pearls for the electronics or obsidian for polymer, and I don't have any organic polymer either. So that's a no for now. At this point, I think I was just going out to gather some wood and randomly decided to check this PT here, and it just happened to be a level 135, so you know I'm going to tame up that bad boy. Only took 2 arrows to knock him out, and it said it was going to take 3 raw prime meat or 7 regular meat, and I wanted it to tame up faster, so I was going to go find a baby to maybe get some prime meat. But the first babies I came across were with this trike. It was a level 145 trike with not 1, but 2 level 145 babies. And since we've already lost our trike, which was our big berry getter, I might as well go ahead and tame these up and get a 3-for-1 deal. I need to grab some regular meat to feed the PT, and I also need to grab some narcotic because I don't think that the 24 trank arrows I have are going to be enough to knock out a 145 trike. For a trike, I shouldn't need a trap. I should easily be able to outrun it. I just can't be crafting because that slows you down, so I need to make my trank arrows first before I start trying to tame it. Here you go, sir. Please enjoy your meal. Be sure to fill out the survey at the bottom of your receipt for 10% off your next order. I was only gone for like 2 minutes. Where did these 3 trikes go? Oh, they're over there. Okay. Time to get this party started. And of course a Pego's gonna attack me right as I start the taming process. That's just wonderful. Dang it, he took all my cooked meat too. I love that the awesome spyglass shows you exactly how much torpor they're at, so you can see how close you are to actually knocking them out. With trikes specifically, if you hit them in the head, it does reduce damage and reduce torpor. That's why I'm specifically aiming for the trike's foot, so that way I get the most out of each arrow that I use. This is where the taming process gets really easy. At this point, the trike is no longer trying to attack me, it's just trying to run away. I just needed to stay away from that Therizino. Hopefully I can knock it out before it gets way too close to that. And down she goes. Now I just need to go grab some Mejo berries. I grabbed some Mejo berries, and then I went to the smithy to repair my crossbow. And after repairing my crossbow, I grabbed all the wood out of the smithy and finally went and put it in the forge like I should have done 45 minutes ago. Well, hello, Sleeping Beauty. Dinner is served. Here is one of the babies. There were 2 of them. One was bigger, which is this one, and then there was a smaller one, and I have no idea where the other one went. Because the Pego stole almost all of my cooked meat, I need to cook some more, so I put some in the campfire, but I really should get a fireplace so that way I can cook a lot more food at once. I was out just gathering some wood, and then on my way back to camp, I just accidentally stumbled across the other baby trike, so now I just need to remember that it's over here near these couple of bushes. I used the wood that I gathered and the stone in my Ankylo's inventory to craft some stone ceilings that I could use to then expand my bridge even further. My new PT must have slept a little bit weird because when he woke up, he was doing something weird with his neck, but after a few seconds, it seemed to work itself out, and I slapped a saddle on him. At this point, it was almost time for the big trike to wake up, so I decided to just stand around by the little tiny one, so that way when it did tame up, I could instantly tame the baby before it wandered off too far. And just like that, I had 3 level 145 trikes tamed up. The remainder of the day was mostly spent gathering narco berries to turn into narcotics. I also did get enough metal smelted to craft a long neck rifle and begin crafting some trank darts, so that way in the next episode we can go tame an Argentavis. But for now, I feel like this is a good place to end off this episode. If you enjoyed it, be sure to smash the like button, subscribe to see more videos, and I will see you in the next one.